Discovered, she shared heartfelt secrets with a stranger, uncovering an incredible love with her. In the heart of a town where dreams barely survived, Amanda leaned over the paint-splattered table at the community center. She was exhausted, but the sparks of possibility flickered in her tired eyes. Raising 2 kids alone was a battle, bills piled high like mountains, and hopes were often dimmed by looming shadows. Yet, here, as laughter echoed around her, she felt a warmth that made her heart flutter. Across from her sat James, a veteran with stories etched in every line of his face. He was unlike anyone she had ever met, a blend of strength and vulnerability. As they painted with the youth, their conversation began as hesitant whispers, blossoming into open-hearted confessions, each revealing their raw truths. "I just want a better life for my kids," Amanda admitted, her voice thick with emotion. "I still dream about going to college, but how can I when I'm barely keeping it together?" James nodded, sadness pooling in his dark eyes. He spoke softly, sharing glimpses of his own past, the battles he fought not just overseas but within himself. "It's hard, you know. Trying to sleep when your mind won't let you." His honesty wrapped around her, both comforting and terrifying. They were 2 souls tangled in struggles, finding solace amid the chaos. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Their connection deepened in that little center, walls painted bright with hope. But the air shifted when her estranged father burst back into her life, a hurricane of pain and unresolved issues. His sudden presence sent Amanda into a tailspin. This was the man who had left her broken, the face of abandonment she had long since masked with resilience. She felt trapped, the stability she had fought hard for now at risk, with James caught in the crossfire. Then news struck, a tragedy within their community center. A young boy was hurt, and fingers began pointing in every direction. Whispers of blame mingled with fear, fracturing the fragile unity they had worked to build. Amanda and James found themselves standing on opposing sides of a growing divide, each desperate to protect their own. In this moment of turmoil, Amanda's heart pounded. Was her budding romance with James worth the sacrifice? Would love prevail where anger and prejudice flared? She felt the weight of her family's generational wounds against the flicker of hope she found in James. Each heartbeat felt louder, every decision heavier. As Amanda looked into the setting sun, the orange hues washed over her, stirring a mix of longing and dread. Could love rise triumphantly from the ashes of judgment, or were they destined to perish under the weight of the past? With unanswered questions hovering over her, Amanda knew this was only the beginning. The fragile thread connecting them was stretched taut, and she wondered if their hearts could withstand the storm brewing on the horizon. Amanda sat on the edge of a park bench, her gaze lost in the twilight sky. The vibrant colors that once uplifted her now felt like a haunting reminder of the turmoil brewing within. The laughter of children playing nearby was a bittersweet melody, reminding her of the innocence she wished to preserve for her kids. She clutched her phone tightly, hesitating to call James. Would he still be there for her after everything? The memories of their time together flooded her thoughts. Those quiet moments of shared vulnerability had felt like a lifeline she didn't know she needed. But now, with her father's unexpected return and the disaster hanging over the community center, she felt unmoored. James could run from me now, she whispered to herself, a sinking feeling creeping into her heart. Just then, the familiar sound of footsteps broke through her reverie. James approached, his silhouette framed against the dusky horizon. Amanda's heart raced at the sight of him, relief washing over her like a balm. Slowly, he took the seat beside her, both unsure of what to say but needing each other's presence like air. "Amanda," he started, his voice low and steady, "I've been thinking about everything. The chaos. Your dad, I've seen what it can do. I want you to know I'm here for you." She turned to him, her heart aching at the sincerity in his gaze. I just don't know how to navigate all this. It feels like everything is collapsing around me. James nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Sometimes we have to face the storm head-on to find clarity. You're not alone in this, he said, gently placing a hand over hers. Their fingers intertwined, a solid connection anchoring them both. But James, the community is splitting. People are angry, and some blame others even without knowing the whole story. I can feel it, Amanda said, her voice breaking. If I step forward and defend you, what about them? What about my kids? He squeezed her hand, a grounding force. Your kids need to see you fight for what you believe in. They need to see you stand tall, even when times are hard. I may not have all the answers, but I do know we can't let fear dictate our lives. His words ignited a spark of bravery in Amanda's heart. Yes, she had been battle-weary, but there was a fire inside her that wanted to erupt against the unfairness of it all. Could she actually take a stand? The thought both thrilled and terrified her. Just then, the sound of raised voices broke through their poignant moment, pulling them back to the reality of their situation. A cluster of community members had gathered, heatedly debating the incident with the young boy, tempers flaring. Amanda felt the tension, the frustration simmering below the surface, threatening to ignite. I have to do something, she said suddenly, determination coursing through her veins. If I don't speak up, things will only get worse. James regarded her with respect and admiration. You have a voice, Amanda. Use it. As they stood together, ready to face the uncertain tide of animosity, Amanda felt a shift within herself, an embodiment of resilience she had long sought. But deep inside, questions spiraled. Would her newfound courage be enough to quell the storm? Could she unite the fractured community even as she battled her own past? They moved closer, prepared to step into the fray, hearts pounding in rhythm, a duo forged in struggle, prepared to fight for love, hope, and a brighter future ahead. The stakes were high, and Amanda held her breath, knowing that every moment counted. With the first shout echoing through the crowd, Amanda realized this wasn't just a battle for her home or her children, it was a fight for her very soul. Would she emerge whole on the other side, or would the cracks deepen once more? The electricity in the air filled her with both hope and dread. Amanda stepped toward the growing crowd, her heart pounding in her chest like a war drum. The heated debates clashed around her, each voice rising above another in a whirlwind of anger, pain, and misunderstanding. She felt James's presence beside her, a steadfast anchor in the tumultuous sea. Everyone, can I have your attention? Amanda called out, her voice tinged with a mix of fear and resolve. For a moment, the chaos fell silent, eyes turning toward her with varying degrees of curiosity and skepticism. She drew a deep breath, hoping the strength she felt from James would carry her words. I know tensions are high right now. I'm Amanda, and I want to talk about what happened yesterday. Her voice trembled but grew firmer as she continued. I understand why you're upset. A child was hurt, and it's devastating. But fighting among ourselves won't change what occurred. We need to come together. A murmur rippled through the crowd, uncertainty hanging in the air. She pressed on, feeling the weight of their stares. It wasn't just her words that mattered, it was the sincerity behind them. I've seen this community at its best. We've been there for each other, and I believe we can navigate this storm, but we need to listen and understand, not throw blame. James stepped a little closer, giving her the encouragement she needed, his eyes unwavering. This was the moment she had been waiting for, yet every second stretched like an eternity. I spoke to the boy's mother yesterday, she continued. She is just as heartbroken as all of you. She doesn't want anyone to suffer. We have to find ways to support her and the boy, instead of turning on each other. The arguments quieted, replaced by whispers as Amanda glanced at the faces around her. Some were thoughtful, while others still bore the hardened lines of discontent. She pressed her fingers against the palm of her hand, grounding herself amidst the emotional storm. What happened to that boy was a tragedy. But we can't let it divide us, she said, a hint of passion creeping into her tone. If we fight among ourselves, we lose what makes our community strong. And our children will see that division. They deserve better. James's approval radiated off him, warming her resolve. She spotted a few familiar faces, people she had grown up with, others she shared parenting woes over coffee. This was their life, their home, and it needed her voice. I don't have all the answers, Amanda admitted, feeling the sincerity in her own words. But I know that if we work together, we can heal. We can protect those we love. The chaos will not define us, we will define how we respond. A woman in the front stepped forward, her face reddened by emotion. You're talking about understanding, but people are angry. We don't even know the full truth about what happened. Amanda nodded, acknowledging the concern, trying to keep her composure. I get that. But let us uncover the truth together. Let us be a united front, not just for the boy, but for everyone who calls this place home. Slowly, a few heads began to nod in agreement, and from the back, someone shouted, "She's right. We can't just sit back while things worsen." Hope sparked within Amanda. This was the shift she had sought, the turning point. Voices began to rise, not in contention but in a rising chorus of compassion. As the crowd began talking among themselves, James squeezed her hand, beaming with pride. You did it, Amanda. You brought them back to the heart of it all. Not yet, she said, glancing around the gathering crowd, which was stirring with newfound energy. This is just the beginning. There's more we need to discuss. With resolve settling like an old friend in her chest, Amanda stood ready for the next challenge. But deep down, a different fear lingered. Was her community truly ready to embrace change, or would old habits rear their heads again? The evening sun set lower, casting shadows, signaling the fight wasn't over yet. What awaited her as they began this journey together? Would the bond somehow knit stronger, or fracture further as truth emerged? As the murmurs among the crowd swelled, Amanda felt the pulse of uncertainty in the air. The warmth of the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows on the asphalt, mirroring the shadows of doubt in her heart. She caught snippets of conversations, many conflicted. Some wanted answers while others called for restitution. Yet, some voices started to unify, echoing her call for understanding. Let us form a committee. Called out a man with a straw hat, standing closer to the front. His tone was fervent but hopeful. We can reach out to the mother, organize support. I'll help. Shouted a woman with a fierce glint in her eye. I know how to make a fundraiser. We can provide for the family. Amanda's heart raced as the tone of the gathering shifted. There it was, the spark she had hoped for. A small flicker of hope kindling into a flame. Exactly. Amanda shouted back, her voice filling with gratitude. If we focus on offering help instead of blame, we could rally together as a community, show the boy's family we care. Amid the growing enthusiasm, she noticed Amy, a childhood friend, standing at the back, arms crossed. Amanda hadn't seen her in years. She felt a pang of nostalgia and a rush of concern. Would Amy join in the efforts, or was she still bitter over past disagreements? Finally, the crowd began to form small groups, conversations bubbling, sharing ideas and possible solutions. Amanda watched as the aura shifted, anxiety giving way to determination. She felt a rush of adrenaline. This was the power of community, of uniting when faced with challenges, turning pain into purpose. As Amanda stepped away from the growing cluster of voices to address the committee, she noticed Amy walking toward her, hesitation bouncing across her features. The two locked eyes, and Amanda felt a whirlwind of emotions: fear, hope, longing for understanding. Amanda, Amy started, her voice thick with unresolved tension. I didn't know you'd come back to help everybody like this. It feels. She paused, searching for words. It feels different. Amanda took a breath, the moment heavy with unspoken history. We all have our moments, Amy. I didn't expect this either. But we can't let our past keep us from doing what's right. Her own voice softened, desperation lacing her plea. This isn't just about yesterday, it's about building a better tomorrow. I want to help, Amy finally admitted, a hint of vulnerability breaking through her tough exterior. But it's hard to let go of the anger. I know, Amanda replied, reaching out to place a calming hand on her shoulder. But healing starts with us. Let us be the change we want to see. With a nod of agreement, Amy stepped closer, hesitance dissipating as she joined the formation of new ideas. Amanda felt a weight lift. It had taken so long to reconnect with her friend, but now they stood side by side for a common cause. Suddenly, a loud shout broke through the chatter, a voice from the back calling for everyone's attention again. We can't forget the details about what really happened. We need clarity. It was a sharp reminder that while hope blossomed, the underlying questions still lingered, threatening to fracture the fragile peace. Amanda looked to James, whose supportive gaze held a mixture of pride and concern. She knew this wasn't over, they were walking the tightrope between healing and chaos. But in that moment, with Amy beside her, there was a flicker of belief, a thought that maybe, just maybe, they could weather the storm together. What would come next? Would the truth strengthen them or tear them apart? As voices rose and fell around her, the upturned faces now expectant, Amanda steeled herself. She wasn't backing down, not now. This felt like the calm before the storm. And in the heart of chaos, the real fight awaited them. Would they be able to confront the truth, or would it slip right through their fingers? As the tension in the air thickened, Amanda stepped forward, the crowd's murmurs hanging heavy around her. The voice from the back had struck a nerve, and she could feel her heart race with the weight of unasked questions. Clarity was essential now, but how could they face it without tearing each other apart? There's no use ignoring what's happened, she proclaimed, her voice firm but gentle. We can't move forward until we acknowledge the truth. Her gaze swept across the gathering, desperately searching for understanding. But the knots in her stomach tightened as she glimpsed some faces turning sour, arms crossing defensively again. Maybe the truth is too painful, said a man in the front, his brow furrowing. His words sparked a murmur of agreement. What if we can't handle it? Amanda felt a sting fear in the voices. But isn't that what we signed up for? To face the hardest parts together. Easy for you to say, an older woman interjected. Your heart hasn't been shattered like some of us. How can we trust in a way that leads to pain again? For a moment, the weight of the woman's words crushed Amanda. She thought of her own heartaches, the reminders of past betrayals that loomed larger than life. But this was different. This was about healing. I understand, she said, her voice taking a softer tone as she invited them to listen. Trust takes time. But we can start small. We can share our experiences, be honest. It doesn't have to be all at once. Let us find a way to hold space for each other. She felt Amy's hand slip into hers, an anchor amidst the turbulent ocean of worries. Yeah, Amy added, a new conviction rising in her voice. We've each faced pain in different forms. That pain gives us clarity not just for ourselves but for others. Together, we can create a platform to understand what happened to the boy and support his family. Her friend's encouragement sparked hope within Amanda. Others began to nod, a ripple of agreement flickering through the crowd. Still, uncertainty remained. What if we can't? Someone whispered from the back. I can't promise you that, Amanda replied, meeting that person's gaze. But I can promise we'll try. And that's worth something, isn't it? Together, we aren't just a group, we're a community willing to get real, to face the raw, uncomfortable truth. We owe it to the boy and his family. The applause started slowly, hesitant claps that grew louder, feeding off the stirring momentum. Amanda felt the heat of urgency pulsing through her, drawing strength from the collective hope spinning in the air. But amidst the rising energy, her heart snagged at the thought of those plagued by unresolved emotions. Let us not forget, she said, taking a deep breath, that many of us are struggling with our doubts. It's okay to feel that way. Let us create a safe space to voice those feelings, but not let them divide us. Suddenly, the crowd fell into a hushed silence, drawn again by a sudden anxiety. A boy stood at the edge of the gathering, wide-eyed, perilously vulnerable. The air shifted at his approach, anticipation blending with caution. "Can I say something?" he asked, his voice breaking slightly. The murmur hushed, Amanda's heart sank, wondering what weight rested on this young boy's shoulders. "Please," she urged softly, stepping down to meet him face to face. "We want to hear you." As the crowd leaned in, an electric response surged through Amanda. Would he share the details that could untangle the knot they all felt? Or would he hold back, fearing the very thing they were all frightened of revealing the truth might hurt even more? The moment felt pivotal, the air heavy with unspoken revelations. Amanda realized they were all on the brink of understanding a precipice that could either catapult them toward collective healing or send them tumbling back into chaos. What awaited them on the other side of this revelation? As the boy opened his mouth to speak, Amanda braced for whatever truth was about to unfold. Would it bring them together, or shatter them apart? The boy cleared his throat, the sound barely cutting through the silence. His hands were trembling at his sides, but he stood taller, summoning courage from somewhere deep inside. I knew him," he stammered, glancing quickly at the ground. "I mean, I knew the boy. He was my best friend." A wave of shock rippled through the crowd. Gasps and whispers echoed as eyes widened. Amanda's heart ached for him. In that moment, she understood the weight of his words. This wasn't just an abstract tragedy, it was a personal loss, a wound that cut deep. I didn't protect him," the boy continued, fighting back tears, his voice cracking. "I was supposed to be there, to look out for him. But I wasn't. We were playing hide and seek, and I hid too well. By the time I came out, it was too late." A gasp swept through the gathered group. Amanda felt a knot tighten in her throat. She stepped closer, drawn to the boy's grief. The fragility of the moment wrapped around them like a shroud. She gestured for him to keep talking. "I keep replaying what happened," the boy said, shaky breaths punctuating his words. "I thought it was just a game. I thought he would just find me." I didn't realize. His voice faltered as he caught the weight of what he was saying, the truth of his own pain spilling into the open air. Amanda felt a rush of compassion. "You couldn't have known," she said gently, wishing to pull him from his grief. "You were just a kid, just trying to have fun." "But it was different for me," he replied, lifting his tear-stained face. "I should have been more aware. I should have done something. Everyone keeps saying we should move on, but how do you do that when part of you feels broken?" The crowd was silent now, many struggling to hold back tears. Amanda sensed a shared sorrow unfolding, a collective hurt that began to mingle. It was the sound of souls weaving together in understanding. "Moving on doesn't mean forgetting," Amanda assured him. "It means carrying him with us, honoring his memory by making sure we're there for one another. We don't have to hide our pain." At that, the boy looked back up, his eyes glistening with confusion, relief, and hesitation all at once. "You really think so?" he murmured. "I know so," Amanda replied, her heart swelling with warmth for this vulnerable boy. "You've shown us the value of being real. We can face this together. Our stories matter." A growing sense of unity filled the space as whispers of agreement rose. Others stepped forward, one by one, sharing their own connections to the boy who had passed, expressing their heartache and gratitude for the chance to speak his name aloud. Moments of raw emotion created a ripple, sweeping the crowd into a wave of shared grief and healing. Yet, in the midst of this unfolding bond, Amanda felt a weight lift but wondered if the hardest part was yet to come. Could they truly transform this tragedy into a source of strength, or would shadows from the past pull them back into isolation? Would they find a way to ensure this boy's memory became a beacon for unity and healing for their community? As she looked around at the faces now lit with new purpose, Amanda couldn't shake the feeling that something pivotal was approaching. Their journey had begun, but where would it lead? The sun hurt her eyes as it dipped toward the horizon, echoing the uncertainty that loomed over them all. "I think this is just the beginning," she whispered, almost to herself, and with that, the gathering held its breath, waiting for what came next. The murmurs grew softer as the weight of the conversation settled around them. Amanda scanned the crowd, lingering on each face that shone with a mixture of grief, understanding, and a touch of hope. They were all in this together, bound by shared loss and an unspoken promise to honor the boy who had brought them here. Then the boy, still trembling slightly, broke the spell of silence. "I want to do something. For him." His determination surprised Amanda. "What do you mean?" "I want to create a place where kids can play safely. A park, or something, where everyone can remember him," he said, his voice gathering strength. He loved to play outside. He was always happier when he could just run around. A spark ignited in Amanda's heart. That's a beautiful idea. A place to celebrate him and keep his spirit alive. The boy nodded, surprised by the warmth of her support. "Yeah, but I can't do it alone. I don't even know where to start." "Let's start right here," she said, gesturing for the crowd to gather closer. "We're all friends of his, and we can help. If we all pitch in, we can make something special. Together." Heads nodded enthusiastically, and the atmosphere shifted. What had begun as a collective mourning was now transforming into a hopeful mission. Voices rose, suggestions flew like sparks from a fire, and ideas intertwined, floating among them like a dance. "We could hold a fundraiser." Someone shouted. "I can bake cookies. Everyone loves cookies." A woman called, her eyes brightening. "I've got some old toys we could sell." Another voice chimed in. Amidst the growing noise, Amanda felt a swell of excitement lift her own spirit. This was more than a tribute, it could be a new beginning for them all. A chance to turn mourning into joy, grief into community. "Let us meet tomorrow to brainstorm more. We can pick a name for the park and form a committee," Amanda suggested, her own enthusiasm spilling over. "We'll all be part of this." As they talked, the murmurings of grief began to mingle with laughter and anticipation. The boy looked at her, gratitude flooding his expression. "I didn't expect this, to feel hope again," he admitted, wiping away his tears, a smile breaking through the remnants of his sorrow. Amanda's heart swelled. Hope is strongest when shared. "We'll carry his memory forward, together." Their conversation flowed into the twilight, where shadows grew longer and the laughter of children in the distance draped a warm veil over them. When the gathering finally dispersed, Amanda lingered, watching as the last few stragglers settled into groups, planning and dreaming, but deep down, a question stirred within her. Could their unity withstand the troubled waters that lay ahead? What challenges might emerge as they embarked on this noble adventure? As she turned to leave, Amanda felt a sudden chill and inkling that not everyone would welcome their efforts. A voice echoed in her mind, warning her of the inevitable hurdles ahead. What if their dreams collided with the harsh reality of what was still unhealed? And with that discomfort barely settled, she walked away, stepping into the growing darkness, her heart heavy yet hopeful, bracing for what lay ahead. As the stars twinkled above, a new thought flickered: could they withstand the trials ahead without losing sight of their goal? The next morning dawned clear and bright, the sun spilling golden light over the small town. Amanda felt a surge of determination as she walked to the agreed meeting spot, a park bench under a sprawling oak tree. She arrived early, checking her watch and finding the time creeping slowly by. The world felt different today, electric with possibility. As the first familiar faces began to trickle in, the baking woman, the boy who had spoken up, and a few others, Amanda noticed an air of excitement around them. People exchanged enthusiastic greetings, clutching notepads, pens, and ideas. She welcomed each one, a smile stretching across her face. "Thanks for coming, everyone," Amanda said as they settled in around her, their energy swaying like the branches above. Let us put our heads together and make this park happen. We owe it to him. The boy grinned, his earlier nerves replaced by bold enthusiasm. I've been thinking about names for the park, he said, flipping open his notebook. How about something that reminds everyone of him? Like Sam South Adventure Park? Or Sam's Place for Joy, chimed in another voice. Amanda felt warmth blooming in her chest as they bounced ideas back and forth. This wasn't just a meeting, it was a celebration of a childhood cut too short, wrapped in the promise of laughter and play. Let us make it fun. We can have a picnic, face painting, maybe a little carnival, someone suggested, eyes glimmering with excitement. As the meeting flowed, ideas magnified, the energy palpable. Amanda found herself caught up in the visions they were conjuring, each one more vivid than the last. The sound of children's laughter echoed in her mind as she imagined bright swings, cheerful slides, and the sound of running feet. But amid the laughter and excitement, unease flitted through her thoughts like a shadow. The obstacles whispered quietly. Who would help fund this dream? What permissions would they need? Even as they shared laughter, she couldn't shake the thought of possible discontent from those who were still grieving or skeptical of their mission. When the brainstorming slowly wound down, Amanda sensed the need to address the foundation on which they were building. I know it might seem easy to get carried away, she started, her tone shifting to one of seriousness. But we have to remain grounded. There might be resistance, people who don't want to change things. The boy met her gaze, unwavering. But we can't stop. He said, his voice firm. This is for Sam, and we have to honor him. Nods of agreement filled the air, but Amanda saw doubt flicker across a few faces. She felt her own heart thumping louder with each second. They were committed, but where would that commitment lead them? As they wrapped up the meeting, Amanda couldn't shake the feeling that some conflicts loomed on the horizon. She gathered everyone for a group photo, capturing their spirit, hoping to solidify their unity in an image. Once they dispersed, Amanda lingered, a knot of worry tightening in her stomach. She watched the trees sway gently in the breeze, her mind racing with thoughts of how to keep this newfound hope fueling them. Just as she turned to leave, a shadow fell beside her. It was a man she hadn't seen before, eyes sharp yet warm. Are you Amanda? He asked, his voice steady. Amanda nodded cautiously. A million questions spun in her head, who he was, why he was here. Good, we need to talk. Her heart raced, the air buzzed with tension. What did he want? As he began to speak, doubts gnawed at her. Could the park that united them also become a point of contention? And would this stranger help or hinder their hopes? Amanda studied the man carefully as he began to speak. His gaze was steady, and though he seemed sincere, she felt a twinge of apprehension. The way he emphasized "we" sent a chill down her spine. Was he a supporter, or did he come bearing bad news? I've heard about your plans, he said, his voice low but firm. My name is John, and I work with the town's planning committee. The knot in her stomach tightened. There it was, the official connection. She held her breath, unsure of how he would react to their ambitious project. Great to meet you, Amanda replied, forcing a smile, though questions danced in her mind like fireflies. We're excited about making this park a reality for Sam. It's important to the community. We think it could bring healing. John nodded but didn't immediately respond. Instead, he pulled out a folded piece of paper from his pocket and handed it to her. Her hands shook slightly as she took it. This is the preliminary assessment of the park's feasibility, he said. There are some significant hurdles you should be aware of. She unfolded the paper, scanning it quickly. The details were concerning zoning issues, funding requirements, and a harsh note about the probability of public pushback. It felt like a bucket of cold water had been thrown over her hopes. Oh, you need to be prepared, he continued gently. There are individuals in this town who might object. Some folks don't see the value in a park dedicated to a child. His gaze softened. It's painful to lose a child. I understand that, but some find it easier to move on by forgetting. Those words struck her. She felt a wave of anger surge within. How could anyone want to forget about Sam? We can't let that happen, she said, her voice rising with a mix of passion and hurt. This isn't just about a park. It's about remembering him. About celebrating childhood. Exactly, John said, nodding. But it's also about battling the negativity. You need a stronger plan, a way to counteract that pushback. He took a step closer, his voice dropping to a more intimate tone. You need allies, people who shared Sam's joy, who can articulate the importance of this park. Find them. Bring them on board. As he spoke, Amanda felt her heart begin to race again, this time with an ember of hope. Perhaps she could rally those who still cherished Sam's zest for life, who understood the need for joy in the face of loss. Thanks for this, John. I don't know what we would have done without your insight. She felt a small flame of gratitude growing inside her, but there was still uncertainty about how to move forward. What if others don't care as much? What if we can't get the support we need? That fear is valid. But remember, every idea that changes the world was once met with doubt, John replied, his eyes glimmering with determination. Take this as a challenge, Amanda. This park is more than just a playground. It could unite this community. She considered his words, recognizing the truth in them. As hard as it would be, maybe their grief could spark meaningful conversations, inspiring others. Maybe they wouldn't just remember Sam, they'd create something incredible in his honor. John, would you be willing to help us? Amanda asked, her voice full of sincerity. We could use your guidance, some insight into how the town works and who to reach out to. Absolutely, he said, a smile breaking through his serious demeanor. I believe in your vision. Let us make this happen together. As they stood beneath that sprawling oak, a sense of solidarity enveloped them. Perhaps their meeting was serendipitous. Yet, under the surface, unanswered questions loomed larger. Could they truly face the resistance awaiting them? What would the next steps demand of Amanda and her growing group? Amanda felt renewed resolve, but a whisper of doubt still lingered. And just as she was about to thank him again, a loud crash of thunder clamped down over them, dark clouds rolling in fast. Would their dreams be washed away just as quickly? Come on, let us get to shelter. John said, darting toward the nearby building. As they hurried along, she couldn't shake the feeling that the storm was just the beginning. With each step forward, the weight of their dream grew heavier. What awaited them on the other side? The storm hit hard, rain lashing against the pavement as Amanda and John hurried to find cover. They sprinted towards the community center, their feet splashing in puddles, hearts racing with a mixture of adrenaline and trepidation. The clouds above mirrored the uncertainty swirling within Amanda, each clap of thunder echoing her fears about the park and the challenges ahead. Once inside, they shook off the rain and stepped into the warmth of the familiar space. Amanda's heart fluttered with memories, the laughter of children, the community gatherings that once felt like family. She had brought this community together before. Could she do it again? Let us organize a community meeting, Amanda mused aloud, determination sharpening her voice. If we can get everyone to understand what this park means, to honor Sam, to heal together, maybe we can shift those opposing views. John nodded, a spark of excitement in his eyes. Absolutely. You need to establish a narrative, frame it around healing and unity. People are more likely to rally behind positive stories rather than negative ones. As they discussed ideas, momentum began to build. Amanda envisioned a flyer that could spread the word, one that showcased Sam's spirit, splashed with vibrant colors and heartfelt messages. A place where children could laugh and play, where memories would not just live on as whispers but as joyous celebrations. Let us get everyone involved, Amanda suggested, her courage firing up. Friends, family, even those who are currently hesitant. If we can make this about more than just a park, if we frame it as a bridge between hearts, we stand a greater chance. I'm with you, John affirmed. Let us reach out to those who knew Sam, share their stories. The more personal connections we make, the more difficult it becomes to dismiss this project. A loud crash of thunder reminded them of the storm outside, but for Amanda, it transformed into a symbol of their fight. She sat at the table, scribbling notes, planning their next steps with excitement bubbling beneath her skin. They were on the edge of something powerful. The rain began to taper off, and with it, Amanda prepared to face the community head-on. She reached out to the parents from the meeting, collecting stories and photographs of Sam, diving deep into memories that would paint a picture of who he was. She remembered laughing with him when he would kick a ball around. She shared hot cocoa on cold winter nights with the kids near the fire. It wasn't just about his absence, it was about celebrating his joy, his love of life. A few days later, Amanda felt the electric pulse of hope as she stood before a gathering of friends, family, and supporters at the community center. The atmosphere buzzed with a mix of excitement and tension. She studied their faces, some hopeful, others skeptical, and a handful still cloaked in grief. "Thank you all for coming," Amanda began, feeling a wave of support from those gathered. "Today, we're not just discussing a park. We're here to honor a beautiful soul who brightened our lives, a boy who deserves to be remembered." She paused, searching the crowd for nods of understanding. Sam loved to run and play. He loved making everyone smile. "We're here to create a space where there can continue, a park where our children can play freely, where we can all come together, despite our differences." As she spoke, she shared the stories she had gathered, the laughter during birthday parties, the joy in a simple game of tag, the warmth of a community united in their love for this child. Slowly, she noticed faces soften, hardened expressions began to crack. "We're all mourning," she continued, "but grief doesn't have to divide us. Instead, let it inspire us. Let us heal as one, finding strength in our shared memories and love." The crowd began to respond, voices rising in agreement and emotion. The room felt like it was moving, like hope was palpable, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. Moments became sacred as they shared their wishes for what the park could be, a place of joy, laughter, and remembrance. As voices bobbed around her, Amanda realized this was more than just their memories, it was the birth of something new, something they could all take part in. By the end of the meeting, hands shot up with ideas about fundraising, civic engagement, and a direction. That night, Amanda stood in front of her kids, who had been her guiding light throughout this entire journey. "We're building the park, remembering Sam together," she smiled at them, brimming with gratitude. "It's about showing everyone that love always prevails over pain." Tears sparkled in her eyes, but they were tears of joy, hope, and the sweet tether of community they had forged. In that moment, Amanda knew, as they stepped into the future, challenges were looming, doubts and hardship would attempt to shake their resolve. But for the first time, she felt steady. She had found not just support in her friends, but a place where love flourished amid the storms. They were ready, bringing Sam's spirit back into the heart of their community, hand in hand, and with a joyful heart, Amanda whispered, "We can do this." As they nestled into bed that night, along with her children's sleepy whispers and dreams, Amanda felt a surge of anticipation flow through her. This was just the beginning, and she couldn't wait to see where this journey would lead. So she dreamt, and hoped, and believed. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss our next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Seriously, it makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending and how it inspired you. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us keep spreading hope and unity together.